Hi everybody, it's Melissa Vanity. Welcome back to my channel. So this is probably going to be the first video that goes up in October, so I would like to officially welcome everybody back. I know it's been a very long time since I've posted anything on my channel. I'm really sorry about that. A lot of things have happened in my life that I will touch on a bit later. I thought that we should kick off the spooky month of October with a very interesting story time. This is going to be the story of how the house I practically grew up in is haunted. Yay! So, to give you a little bit of background on the house, I moved into that house when I was either I had just turned 8 or I was about to turn 8. We moved into that house and everybody was really excited. My parents were really excited because it was the first house that they owned, you know, together, and I mean individually. It was the first time they've ever owned a house. They had it built just for us and it was beautiful. Everybody was happy and la-di-da. When I turned 12 or 13, I started dabbling in Wicca. So I mean, while I still identify actually as a semi-practicing pagan, I have really calmed my ish from all of the stuff that I used to do back then. And basically what I had started to do at that time was play around with a Ouija board. I know it was like the biggest mistake that I could possibly make, but I was young, I was stupid, I was excited, and I thought that it would be a great idea. So I had gotten one of my good friends at the time to, you know, come to my house, and we agreed that we would, you know, start playing around, and we didn't really know what we were doing, so we kind of messed around with that stuff. After all of that happened, nothing in the house was really the same. And what I mean by not really the same, it was like you could kind of feel a different energy in the house after all of that stuff happened. Like, you would walk in and you would kind of feel that it was heavier. Like, just the air in the house itself was heavier. A lot of bad stuff started happening to all of us in the house. We just had really bad luck, well, whether we were in the house or not. And weird things would happen, like we would hear footsteps coming up the stairs when there was no one in the house. We would hear weird noises at night. We would see things move out of the corner of our eyes, and like a bunch of weird stuff just happened so many times in that house, and it just felt like it was cursed, like it was possessed by some kind of evil demon spiritual thing. To this day, I don't really know what exactly we did or what exactly we let out or what exactly is in the house. Nobody really knows, but it still always kind of feels heavy there. But the story that I want to share with you is actually the story of my 11th birthday, which is actually before I started playing with the Ouija board in that house, and just goes to further back that there was some kind of paranormal activity already taking place in the house. So me playing with whatever I played with afterwards really just kind of made it worse. I wanted to share this story with you because it is a story that kind of always messed with my head growing up, and it still to this day kind of gives me the chills just thinking about it, because there's no way that I could have possibly known anything. On my 11th birthday party, like I said, at that time I was already starting to kind of play around with the whole paganism thing, the whole witchcraft thing, getting into spirits and ghosts and whatever. 3 of my closest friends were allowed to sleep over. We were hanging out in my room upstairs, and all of a sudden the air kind of got really, really cold in the room, and then my friends started feeling as if they were being touched. Just, you know, like just little touches like on the arm, or one of my friends actually felt hands like close around her neck, which was really creepy. We were just kind of freaking out and trying to make sense of everything when we heard steps pounding up the staircase as if they were coming upstairs. So we thought, okay, maybe it's like my dad or something because they were like hard steps. No one showed up the stairs. So I went downstairs and I was like, hey guys, did anyone like try to come upstairs and maybe change their mind or something? And all of the adults were down there just looking at me like, no one tried to come upstairs. So it just was really kind of weird. And us and our silly little 11-year-old brains decided that the best possible idea at that time would be to perform a seance. So we got together the hallway of the upstairs right outside of my bedroom, and we sat around in a circle and held hands, and I don't remember what we said or what we did, or we just kind of called for this spirit to come and show itself, you know, like, I don't know what we did. We were like fetuses. All of a sudden, we all noticed some movement, and we all noticed that in the middle of the circle had stepped a little girl. And she kind of was there, but kind of wasn't. I'm only friends with one of the girls that were present at that party still to this day. And I mean, she remembers it very fuzzily too. It's kind of weird. It's like I can remember the memory, but not fully. I remember that there was a little girl there with blonde pigtails and pink overalls, and she was just talking to us about how she had lived in the area before I did, and how there was a fire, and it was weird. We just kind of talked with her for a bit, and like I said, like even just thinking about it now, it kind of tugs on a memory that is not really there anymore. I don't know how to explain it. Basically, we just talked to her for a bit, and then, I don't know, did what our 11-year-old brains thought was a proper send-off, and just moved on with our night. It's not until 7 years later that it becomes actually terrifying. Again, just to reiterate, I was 8 years old when we moved into the house. I didn't know anyone in the area. I had to switch schools, so I lost all of my friends. I didn't know anyone around. I didn't really know anyone in the area, and I kind of grew up a little alone. Once I got into high school, I started making more friends, and once I turned 17 or 18, one of those two, my best friend at the time ended up having a friend who lived up the street from me. I had never met him before. She knew him through her own friends. One night she was like, why don't you come with me and we'll go see him, I'll introduce you. He's super nice, he's a really chill guy. And I was like, you know what, that's totally cool, let's do it. So we walked up the street, we knocked on his door, and they introduced me. We decided to go for a walk around the block. So while we were walking, he started mentioning how he had lived in that area, in that house, the entire time, and he remembered when it was marketplaces before all of the residential areas started coming in, and he said he even remembered the fire. And hearing him say that, I can remember to this day, made my blood go cold. Here is this person that I had never met in my life, who had lived up the street from where I lived for basically his entire life. He was much older than I was at the time. I think I was 18 and he was 24 or 25. Like, he had lived there for a long time. He was there long before I moved in. Like I said, I mean, I was 8 when I moved in. I wasn't looking at any newspaper articles about the area. I never searched anything about the area. I had no way of knowing this at all, and I knew because this ghost of a little girl had told me like 7 years before I even met this guy. It was just probably one of the creepiest moments in my life, and and it's probably one of the reasons that I believe so strongly in the supernatural and the paranormal. I mean, that is something that cannot be explained by anything else. I sat there and I tried to think of a rational explanation, but I cannot come up with why I would know this. If it was a coincidence, it was such a crazy coincidence that, I mean, I cannot believe that it was a coincidence. Even thinking about it to this day just freaks me out so much. Like I said, to this day, if you go into the house, it does still kind of feel heavy, and you can feel that there's something not right there. We all kind of just got used to it and just kind of started living with it and just moved on with our lives. So that is the story of how I met a ghost and how I lived in a haunted house. So that was my story. If you have any other similar stories, please be sure to share them with me. I would love to hear about your experiences too. I've always been so interested in the paranormal and anything ghost related. And if you have any questions or any theories or any recommendations that you can share, you know, based on hearing my experience, also please let me know. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the story time. Let me know if you enjoy story times and want to hear some more of my crazy wacky stories, because I've got a lot of them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon. Love you.